Hi everyone! Yes, surprise, surprise! I am at the airport. Checking in. In fairness, mabilis talaga pag web check-in. So, highly suggest that when you travel, if possible, do the web check-in. So, I'll see you in a bit. Ano muna ako, check-in and immigration. Bye! Arrive around 9:16 in Washington DC. So there, long haul flight, guys. Apply naman ng 3-4 hours, but not enough. So we'll probably get some nap from Narita to LAX.
Finally, it was time to board. So it's gonna be from Manila to Narita, Narita to LAX, and then finally LAX to Ronald Reagan in Washington DC.
the elevator because at the time I was already waiting. I have a little bit of arthritis attack going on. So it's very convenient that they have this kind of service,
which is very normal for almost all airports around the world. So there we go. We're at Terminal 71. I mean Gate 71. So, but at this point, it was several hours to go before boarding. So, I'm just gonna be showing a little bit of the tarmac and then the waiting lounge later on. The flight from Narita to LAX actually got delayed, so I decided to get out of the gate first and decided to roam around the duty-free area again, but then I had to stop over at the bathroom. And so nice to see that the bathroom really is actually very nice. You have different controls where you can actually choose how to clean or wash up, and then even sound so that people do not know what you are actually doing. Really, really nice. Something that I really like about Japan airports. And then I proceeded to actually roam around again, as I said, into the duty-free area, specifically the Akihabara area. This duty-free basically has almost everything from food stuff to gadgets to various accessories like even watches. Later on you will see it, and they also even have shades or sunglasses, and the ceiling has a very nice design. It's very artsy, crafty, so I really loved it. There you go. And of course, toys everywhere. Kids would have gone bonkers from all the toys and anime stuffies that they would have, or that they could have seen here. So these were, I don't know what you actually call them in Japan, but this was very similar to what we call Funko Pop, and maybe that is actually the same thing. So here are some more anime characters that I actually don't even know who they are, but somehow I see my kids go through these similar characters when they watch. And of course, this is Mario stuff, where Mario is actually one of the favorite characters of my son B-Boy. And on my way home, I actually picked up one of these. I think I bought him Luigi and Mario. And of course, some more anime character figures. Videos of all of them. Of course, I truly love that they served Haagen-Dazs in the plane. And finally, after almost 16 hours of flight, I arrived in LAX. But sadly, my flight to Washington DC from LAX was delayed for about 4 hours. So at this point, I was super duper tired. But eventually, I got into Washington DC at about, instead of 10 p.m., I arrived about midnight. And since LAX was my first entry into the US, I had to actually get my bags and recheck into American Airlines. So now this is me already in Washington DC. I took an Uber cab to our Airbnb, which is actually found inside of the Capitol, in Capitol Hill. It's actually just at the back of the Supreme Court. It's called the John Marshall House, and it's a super duper nice Airbnb. Perfect location, perfect host, and I highly recommend that if ever you are going to be staying or going to Washington DC and you do need an Airbnb, that you check this Airbnb that we actually booked when we were there. So the Uber trip to towards the Airbnb was super fast. I landed in Ronald Reagan Airport, so which is actually just about 10-15 minutes away from the Airbnb, and at this point it's almost midnight, so it was a bit faster. So I highly recommend that you have an Uber account, so it's easy to actually grab a cab or grab an Uber taxi if ever you need to go around the city or go somewhere else like Virginia or Maryland, which is actually very near Washington DC. Okay, finally I arrived at John Marshall House. If you like this video, please join me again on the next one for my continuing series in my trip to Washington DC.